In a split second, shy Emma's world shatters when bullies rip her shirt in front of her friends, exposing her to cruel laughter. But what happens next will leave you speechless. She unleashes a fierce punch, breaking the lead bully's nose. This is her story of vengeance and redemption. If this hook grabbed you, hit that subscribe button for more gripping stories of courage and comeback. Join our community and never miss a tale that'll keep you on the edge of your seat. Emma Grayson was never the girl who stood out. At 16, she blended into the background of Lincoln High School in suburban Ohio like a shadow on a cloudy day. Her chestnut hair was always tucked into a messy bun, her oversized sweaters hiding a frame that was neither frail nor strong, just unremarkable. She liked it that way. Attention was a currency she couldn't afford, not with her family's constant financial struggles and her mother's late-night shifts at the diner. Emma's world was small, her best friends Mia and Lucas. Her sketchbook filled with intricate drawings and the quiet hope of surviving high school unnoticed. But on a crisp October afternoon, that hope would be torn apart quite literally in front of everyone she cared about. It was lunch period, and the courtyard buzzed with the usual chaos of teenagers. Emma sat cross-legged on the grass, her sketchbook open to a half-finished drawing of a sparrow in flight. Mia, with her wild curls and infectious laugh, was recounting a story about her cat knocking over a vase, while Lucas, lanky and perpetually sarcastic, tossed a football back and forth with himself. The trio had carved out this corner of the courtyard as their sanctuary, a place where they could be themselves away from the cliques that ruled Lincoln High. But sanctuaries, Emma would learn, were fragile things. Across the courtyard, Tyler Vance held court. The star linebacker of the Lincoln Lions was everything Emma wasn't: loud, confident, and untouchable. His broad shoulders and easy grin made him a magnet for admiration, but beneath the charm was a cruelty that thrived on power. His posse, a group of jocks and hangers-on, followed his every move, their laughter a weapon as sharp as any blade. Tyler had noticed Emma before, not because she was special, but because she was easy prey. Her quiet demeanor, her thrift store clothes, her refusal to fight back, they made her a target. And today, Tyler was in the mood to play. The first taunt came like a dart. "Hey Grayson, still wearing your mom's hand-me-downs?" Tyler called across the courtyard, his voice drawing chuckles from his crew. Emma's cheeks burned, but she didn't look up. She had learned long ago that responding only made it worse. Mia, however, wasn't so restrained. "Leave her alone, Tyler," she snapped, her eyes flashing. Tyler's grin widened, sensing a challenge. He sauntered over his friends, trailing like hyenas. "What's that, Mia, defending your little charity case?" Lucas stood, his lanky frame no match for Tyler's bulk, but his voice steady. "Back off, man. Go pick on someone your own size," laughed a low, mocking sound. "Oh, Lucas, always the hero. Too bad you can't save her from this." Before anyone could react, Tyler reached down, grabbed the hem of Emma's sweater, and yanked. The fabric tore with a sickening rip, exposing her plain white t-shirt, and worse, her vulnerability. The courtyard erupted in gasps and laughter, phones already out to capture the moment. Emma's world slowed. She saw Maya's horrified expression, Lucas's fists clenching the gleeful faces of Tyler's friends. Her sketchbook lay forgotten in the grass, the sparrow's wings clipped by humiliation. Something inside her snapped a dam she hadn't known existed. She stood, her hands trembling, and faced Tyler. He towered over her, his smirk daring her to do something. And she did. With a speed she didn't know she had, Emma swung her fist, connecting with Tyler's nose. Now the crack was audible, a sharp sound that silenced the courtyard. Tyler staggered back, blood streaming down his face, his eyes wide with shock. Laughter died, replaced by stunned murmurs. Emma stood there, her knuckles stinging, her breath ragged, as Tyler clutched his nose and cursed. He literally started, but Lucas was already pulling Emma back, Mia grabbing her sketchbook. "Let's go," Lucas hissed, and the three of them bolted toward the school building, leaving Tyler and his stunned posse behind. Inside, they ducked into an empty, flat classroom, the door slamming shut behind them. Emma's heart pounded so hard she thought it might burst. "Oh my God, Emma," Mia whispered, her eyes wide. "You broke his nose," Lucas let out a shaky laugh. "Yeah, that was epic. but we're in deep now. Emma sank into a chair, her torn sweater hanging off. Her shoulder, she didn't feel epic. She felt exposed, raw, like the sparrow in her sketchbook had been plucked from the sky. Asterisk, word of the incident spread like wildfire. By the end of the day, Emma was a legend and a pariah. The video of her punching Tyler was everywhere, shared across social media with captions like, "Nerd girl fights back," and "Tyler Vance owned," but with the attention came consequences. The principal, Mrs. Hargrove, called Emma into her office the next morning. Tyler was there, his nose bandaged, his mother, a formidable woman in a tailored blazer, glaring daggers. "This kind of violence is unacceptable," Mrs. Hargrove said, her voice stern. "Emma, you're suspended for 3 days, and you'll need to apologize to Tyler." Emma's stomach dropped. Apologize? She opened her mouth to protest, but Tyler's mother cut in. "She assaulted my son. We could press charges." The threat hung heavy, and Emma felt the walls closing in. She nodded mutely, her voice trapped in her throat. As she left the office, Tyler smirked his bandage, doing little to hide his triumph. At home, Emma's mother, Sarah, was furious not at Emma, but at the situation. "You should have told me those kids were bothering you," she said, her hands trembling as she stitched Emma's torn sweater. Sarah worked double shifts to keep them afloat, and the idea of legal trouble was a nightmare. "We can't afford this, Emma. You need to be careful." Emma nodded, guilt gnawing at her. She didn't tell her mother about the video, or the whispers that followed her like shadows. She didn't tell her how Shed stopped drawing her sketchbook untouched since the incident. The suspension was a blur of isolation. Emma stayed in her room, ignoring Mia and Lucas's texts. She felt like Shed traded one kind of humiliation for another. The video was still circulating, and while some kids called her a hero, others branded her a freak. When she returned to school, the stares were relentless. Tyler, fully recovered, made a point of brushing past her in the halls, his friends snickering. But something had shifted in Emma. The girl who'd kept her head down was gone. She wasn't sure who was taking her place, but she knew she couldn't go back. On her first day back, Emma found a note slipped into her locker. It was handwritten, the letters small and precise. "Meet me in the art room after school. You're not alone." There's no signature, no clue who it was from. Curiosity battled fear, but Emma went. The art room was quiet, the smell of paint and clay grounding her. Waiting there was Ms. Carter, the young art teacher who'd always praised Emma's sketches. "I saw the video," Miss Carter said, her voice soft but firm. "And I know what Tyler's been doing to you for years. You don't have to fight this alone." Emma was stunned. Shed always thought teachers didn't notice, didn't care. But Ms. Carter had been watching, collecting evidence photos of graffiti on Emma's locker, screenshots of cruel texts sent by Tyler's friends. "I've been documenting it," she said. "If you're willing, we can take this to the school board. Tyler's family has influence, but they're not untouchable." For the first time, Emma felt a spark of hope. But it came with a risk. Going public meant reliving the humiliation, facing Tyler's wrath, and potentially dragging her mother into a fight they couldn't afford. She spent that night staring at her sketchbook, the sparrow staring back. Could she fight this? Did she have the strength? Emma decided to trust Ms. Carter. They met in secret building, a case against Tyler. Mia and Lucas were brought in, sharing their own stories of harassment. The plan was to present the evidence at the next school board meeting scheduled in 2 weeks. But as the date approached, Emma noticed Mia acting strange, distant, nervous, avoiding eye contact. One day, Emma overheard Mia in the bathroom whispering on her phone. "I didn't want to, but I had to tell them. They threatened to ruin my scholarship." Emma's blood ran cold. She confronted Mia after school, her voice shaking. "Who did you tell, Mia?" Mia's eyes filled with tears. "Tyler's mom. She found out about the school. Board plan. Shay. She said if I didn't give her details, Shed, make sure I lost my chance at college." Emma felt like she'd been punched again, this time in the heart. Mia was her best friend, her confidant. The betrayal cut deeper than Tyler's taunts ever had. That night, Tyler's mother called a meeting with the principal and Ms. Carter. A story of Emma orchestrating a smear campaign using the torn shirt incident as proof of her violent tendencies. Ms. Carter fought back, presenting her evidence, but the school board was hesitant. Tyler's family donated heavily to the school, and the threat of a lawsuit loomed large. Emma was called and her mother by her side and told to drop the issue or face expulsion. Emma was done being a victim. If the school wouldn't listen, she'd make them. She remembered the video still circulating online and realized it was her weapon. With Lucas's help, she created an anonymous account and posted a new version of the story. Not just the punch, but the context, the years of bullying, the torn shirt, the school's inaction. She included Ms. Carter's evidence carefully redacted to protect her. The post went viral not just at Lincoln High but across the state. Hashtags like Justice for Emma and Stop Bullying trended and local news picked up the story. The pressure was too much for the school board. They launched an investigation and Tyler's reign began to crumble. His friends, desperate to save themselves, turned on him, revealing his role in other incidents. Tyler was suspended, his football scholarship in jeopardy. His mother's influence couldn't save him this time. But the victory wasn't sweet. Mai's betrayal still stung and Emma struggled to forgive her. At home, Sarah was proud, but exhausted, the stress of the ordeal taking its toll. Emma returned to her sketchbook, finishing the sparrow's wings with bold, defiant strokes. She wasn't the girl who'd been humiliated in the courtyard anymore. She was someone new, someone who fought back. As summer approached, Emma faced an unexpected challenge that tested her newfound strength. A local reporter named Jenna Torres contacted her wanting to turn Emma's story into a documentary. Jenna had seen the viral post and believed Emma's fight could inspire others. But there was a catch. The documentary would require Emma to share her story on camera, exposing her pain to the world. At first, Emma refused the idea of reliving the courtyard. Incident in front of strangers was unbearable. But Jenna was persistent, meeting Emma at the diner where Sarah worked to explain her vision. "This isn't just about you, Emma," Jenna said, her eyes earnest. "It's about every kid who's ever been pushed too far." Emma wavered, torn between fear and the chance to make a difference. Sarah encouraged her, saying, "Sometimes you have to be brave even when it hurts." Emma agreed, but with a condition: the documentary had to include Mai's story too. Not to shame her, but to show how bullying breaks trust. Jenna agreed and filming began. The process was grueling. Emma sat under bright lights recounting the torn shirt, the punch, the betrayal. Mia joined her, her voice trembling as she admitted her mistake and her fear of losing her future. The footage was raw, powerful, and when the documentary aired at a local film festival, it received a standing ovation. Schools across Ohio requested screenings, and Emma found herself speaking at assemblies, her sketchbook in hand as she shared her sparrow's journey from clipped wings to flight. But the real surprise came when Tyler attended one of the screenings. He approached Emma afterward, his face no longer smug but hollow. "I'm sorry," he said, his voice low. "I didn't realize how much I hurt you." Emma didn't forgive him, not fully, but she nodded, seeing in his eyes a flicker of remorse she hadn't expected. The documentary didn't erase her scars, but it gave her a voice and a purpose. She realized her fight wasn't just about breaking Tyler's nose, it was about breaking the cycle of silence that let bullies thrive. In the weeks that followed, Emma became a reluctant symbol of resistance. Kids she'd never spoken to thanked her in the halls. Ms. Carter was promoted to head of the art department, her courage recognized. Mia apologized tearfully, explaining her fear of losing her future. Emma forgave her, but the trust was slow to rebuild. On the last day of school, Emma stood in the courtyard, her sketchbook tucked under her arm. The grass was greener now, the air warmer. Tyler was gone, expelled after the investigation uncovered more of his actions. The courtyard felt different. No longer a battlefield, but a place where Emma could breathe. She opened her sketchbook, the sparrow now soaring across the page, and smiled. She'd fought and she'd won, not just for herself, but for every kid who'd ever felt invisible. Wow, what a journey Emma took us on. If this story moved you, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. New York, California, Texas, or somewhere else in the USA. Drop your city below, and let's see how far this story's reached.